Merry Christmas everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Holiday Cup featuring a triple Pikachu clone theme team with Togedamaru in the lead, Dedenne as the safe swap and Emolga as the closer. This is going to function as a typical ABB style team with a Pokemon weak to counter in the lead and then two Pokemon in the back that do resist counter, so if we see a Vigoroth or an Obstagoon in the lead we should be able to cover it with the two Pokemon in the back. Now of course, when you're running a triple Pikachu clone theme team, there are going to be a ton of core breakers and actually a lot of Pokemon that just beat all three Pokemon. Pretty much any ground type will absolutely slaughter this team, but luckily for me there are very few ground types in this meta and honestly not many are being used at all. Unova Stunfisk, very popular last time we had the Holiday Cup, but this season I've only come across one and my team did get absolutely annihilated in that game, but outside of that match this team can put in work against pretty much anything else, and there are quite a few teams very weak to the electric typing, which is very handy when you're running three electric types. Now before we get into the battles, let's start with the question of the day. What is your favourite Pikachu clone? Let me know in the comment section below, let me know why, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into a Frostlass, so this is a pretty good lead for us here. They're going to swap into a Vigoroth. We do have Emolga, which does win in all even shields up against Vigoroth, but unfortunately it doesn't win behind on energy, so I kind of forced to throw a charge move there before I swap into the Emolga here, and now I can guarantee switch advantage, but unfortunately this Frostlass is going to be able to farm me down. I do get to a discharge. This will do some very nice chip damage, but it's not going to warrant a shield, and I would be able to take them out with a wild charge anyway, so I'm still going to have to throw a wild charge here, so it doesn't really do anything for me here, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to be an Obstagoon in the back because this was a very common team last time we had the Holiday Cup there. So I go for a CMP tie here. They do throw straight away. They go for an Avalanche. Now I'm going to come in with my Dedenne. They actually swap into the Obstagoon right away, and this is a very good position for me to be in. They go for a Night Slash there. I can of course tank that very comfortably. I go straight for the Play Rough. We land it. We take out the Obstagoon there, and my opponent is going to concede the match there. So a bit of knowledge on what team my opponent was running was really helpful for me there, because even though the Vigoroth safe swap was kind of tricky there, I knew it was going to be an Obstagoon in the back, and that really helped me out. But into this game here, we go for the wild charge as we get to the back-to-back, and my opponent goes for a charge move at that exact moment in time, meaning they actually throw it there once my defense had been lowered. Now I'm going to swap into the Dedenne here. My opponent stays in. They're going to go for a farm here. We go for the discharge, and we're able to take them out before they get to a charge move. But they've got a Ferrothorn in the back, and unfortunately Ferrothorn is a massive wall for Dedenne here. We can only hit 4 resisted damage here, so we're going to go for a second discharge. I assume my opponent's going to keep on over farming here, but they do go for a charge move here. Power Whip barely doesn't take me out, and I'm not able to get to another move there, so they do get 1 extra bullet seed through. We're going to come in with the Emolga, swap, catch the charge move onto our Togedamaru. They actually undercharge that, very nice. They get 1 extra bullet seed through again. They're only at a Power Whip here, so I will let it go through. They're now going to come in with a Vigoroth here, and this is actually a pretty good position for us to be in. Even though we've only got half our health remaining, we do still have 2 shields here. We're going to go for the discharge. They've probably built to the back-to-back body slams, so I will be using both my shields in this scenario here, but I will now get the energy for a discharge here. I think that I'm going to go for 1 extra Thunder Shock, go for the discharge here, and I should have enough health to get to another Aerial Ace here. Up against this Ferrothorn, is this enough damage to take them out? Yes it is, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into an Aurorus here, so another typically good lead here, although if they go for a Meteor Beam, that's actually going to do so much damage to the Togedamaru, so I'm probably going to have to shield anyway. Luckily for me, I get a shield with the Fell Stinger bait. They do go for the Meteor Beam. They're now going to swap into, I believe, a Vigoroth here. We land the Wild Charge, boosted Wild Charge. It does huge damage. We're going to be able to fully Thunder Shock farm them down, and hopefully they do get to another Body Slam here. They actually don't, so they're going to be able to farm me down with their Aurorus here. I'm not sure that's great great for me because I will get to another discharge here, get a shield from this opponent, but they will get a very nice farm down on me here. So I'm going to come back in with the Togedamaru here. I'm going to let this move go through. It's the Meteor Beam. It's resisted, but it does so much damage there. I'm now going to swap into my Dedenne here. They're going to go for a Surf. Surf does about 35% of my health there. We go for a Play Rough. We're going to need to land another Play Rough to take out this Lantern here. So I am going to shield the Surf here. Overfarm just a little bit, go for the charge move on the CMP tie, Play Rough, barely takes out the Lantern here. Can we outpace the Auroras? Yes we can, and a discharge from this range is barely, well not barely, gonna easily be enough to take out the Auroras and take that game. But it was a very close game considering that Togedamaru matchup should be pretty comfortable up against an Ice and Rock type. But here into this next game, my opponent leads with Altaria, they try to catch a charge move. I'm going to go for a Fell Stinger here, now go for a boosted Wild Charge. Wild Charge does big damage, but it doesn't take them out, and for some reason I swap into the Dedenne here. What a strange play. I'm pretty sure they're going to have a second Shadow Razor Leaf user, and they do. And now my Dedenne is going to go down here. I might get a shield. I do actually get a shield, which is kind of good, but at the same time, I have a much better response to a Grass type with the Emolga, and I've lost my best Altaria answer in Dedenne there. So unfortunately, things are not looking great. I'm going to swap, catch the Sky Attack here, and that is double resisted, so I will be able to get to a Wild Charge here, but I don't think I have enough health on my Emolga to take out this Altaria and the Victory Bell. So I'm going to let the Sky Attack go through here. Maybe that's kind of questionable, but the Shadow Victory Bell will get to a charge move here. I'm going to go straight for the Thunder Shock. I'm hoping that I can farm down this Victory Bell, or not farm them down, get to another move, but even resisted Razor Leafs take me out there. So misplay there was just not staying in with the Togedamaru after we landed the Wild Charge, but here we lead into a Talonflame. My opponent catches the discharge perfectly onto a Trevenant. Very nice play there, assuming I would throw on the CMP tie. We're going to go for the Play Rough here. Play Rough actually takes out the Trevenant there, which is great, because Trevenant is a massive problem for this team. They're going to come back in with the Talonflame here, go straight for a Flame Charge. It takes me out, but I've still got two electric types in the back. I come in with the Emolga here, gonna shield up, not gonna throw on the CMP tie again, because if they overfarm, they'll get a full Incinerate through. We go for the discharge here. We actually get a shield from the Talonflame here, gonna go for another discharge here, and this will be getting the final shield here. My opponent swaps out, I bank a discharge, and then I swap into my Togedamaru here. We should be in a pretty good position here. I'm going to keep on over farming here, not throw until I've got maximum energy. Now I'm going to go for a Wild Charge. For whatever reason, I wasn't paying attention. I go way over 100 energy. Now I'm forced to throw back to back because they will get to a Surf very soon here. I should barely have enough health to get to a charge move. My opponent is forced to throw their energy. Remember, we've got a move banked. We go for the Aerial Ace, but we lose the CMP tie, and I did look into this after the match, and with my Emolga IVs, there's literally no IV distribution that Talonflame can have to have a higher attack there, so that was just the game not working, and I was very disappointed there. But well played to my opponent to come out with the back-to-back charge moves and assume that they would be able to win CMP and take that game. Very well played. But into this game here, we safe swap into our Dedenne. We're met with a Frost Slash, but my opponent let us get way too much energy, so I'm now able to get to another discharge here, get both shields from this opponent, and it's actually in my hands if I want to take back switch advantage, which I choose I'm going to do. So I'm going to go for another discharge here just before they reach the next move. Discharge takes out the Frost Slash. They come back in with Obstagoon. They choose to go for a CMP tie here on my discharge. We do land it there, of course, because all shields are down. They're going to take me out with a Night Slash. I come in with my Emolga. We have the great alignment that we wanted. Night Slash doesn't do too much damage. They catch a move on their Altaria. Very nice play here, but that is perfectly fine. We've got a great response to Altaria here. I'm going to wait for them to throw a charge move before I throw mine. They go for a sky attack, double resisted, absolutely fine. I'm happy to let that go through. It does almost nothing. We go for a wild charge, barely not enough to take them out. I don't really want to take another sky attack, so now I build up to the fell stinger, go for it. I have a wild charge banked. This is boosted, and wild charge takes out the Obstagoon, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game here, we lead into an Alolan Graveler, one of the hardest common Pokemon to beat with this team, and it's good to see it in the lead here, but it's still not a great matchup. Of course, we resist everything with the steel and electric typing, but we also hit for resisted damage. We're going to go for a Fell Stinger. Doesn't get shielded, of course it wouldn't, but we do boost our attacks, so now wild charges will be more threatening. Even from this range, a boosted wild charge won't quite be enough to take out the Graveler here, but I'm going to go for the back-to-back moves here. I threw straight away because I was anticipating that they would try and snipe me if I go for an extra Thunder Shock, but that actually turns out to be a very bad play there because now they're able to get to a Rock Blast. I end up shielding it. I'm pretty sure they had enough for a Stone Edge, but I end up shielding a Rock Blast, and now they've got a Frost Sash in the back. There's pretty much no way for me to win here. We're going to swap into the Emolga, hoping they would throw their energy straight away, but they don't. They build up to the back-to-back avalanches here, and yeah, I'm not going to be able to win this game. I tried build up to the Play Rough, but yeah, Frost Sash ends up sweeping my team there, so very well played to that opponent there. Into the next game here, we lead into an Alolan Ninetales. They're going to swap into a Shadow Victory Bell. We're going to go for a Fell Stinger bait and then swap into our Emolga here, and we should be able to take this matchup even if they do go for an Acid Spray, which they do. And you can see these Razor Leafs, even though they're resisted, are absolutely chunking the Emolga here. We barely get to the second Aerial Ace here, and this will be enough to take out the Victory Bell, so we do regain alignment and we have a shield advantage, which is great. We're going to come back in with the Togedamaru here, go for the Wild Charge, and then we're going to swap into our Dedenne. I'm kind of concerned here. I thought it was going to be another Shadow Razor Leaf user, but luckily for me it's a Vigoroth, and we should be in a good position here to take this game. I'm going to go for the Discharge here. Discharge does about 45% of his health. We should be able to take them out with another Discharge. I'm actually going to farm to the back-to-back moves here, and we're going to be able to take out the Alolan Ninetales after we take out the Vigoroth here, and they have to go for the full farm down, but it doesn't matter. I'm able to take them out there and take that game. Into the next game, we lead into a Lantern here, and my opponent, it looked like they were lagging at the start, but I don't actually know if that was visual lag or not. We're going to go for a Wild Charge here and then swap into Dedenne here, and they're actually going to counter swap with a counter user in Vigoroth. This is fairly good for us here, but a Bulldoze would do pretty big damage, so it's not the best matchup ever, but we've managed to get enough energy where we can get a shield. We're now going to call the bait. It is just a Body Slam. I will now shield the next move here, and we should be able to get to a Discharge here before they get to the next charge move, and Discharge does get the final shield here, so I'm happy to let the Dedenne go down. Body Slam does take us out. We're going to come in with the Emolga here, go straight for a Discharge here, and this is going to take out the Vigoroth. We're going to see what they have in the back. They're going to come back in with the Lantern here. They do get to a charge move before we can get to ours. I let it go through. It's a Thunderbolt there. I'm going to bank a Discharge. They come in with a Wooloo there. Oh, sorry, a Dubwool. They go for a Body Slam. Of course, it's resisted. We're going to build to the back-to-back Wild Charges here. First one does massive damage. Not confident that a Fell Sting is going to take them out, so I go for another Wild Charge here, and hopefully I can get to another charge move. It's just going to be a Fell Stinger here, so unfortunately, this won't take out the Lantern, but we've already got a Discharge loaded, and this is definitely going to be enough to take out the Lantern and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game here, we lead into a Galvantula, so this is fairly neutral here. They're going to be able to debuff my attack. I'm going to go straight for the Wild Charge here, expecting a no shield. Now can swap into Dedenne here, and Dedenne also resists everything from the Galvantula. Lunge, of course, going to lower my attack. Not ideal. We're going to go straight for a Play Rough here because they have lowered my attack, and Discharge isn't going to do an awful lot of damage. They're now going to go for an Avalanche. It takes me out. I'll come back in with the the Togedamaru here, choose to overfarm here, and then I will actually go for 2 Fell Stingers instead of a Wild Charge, because I'm not going to lower my defense, but instead boost my own attack here. They're going to go for a charge move on the CMP tie, but we do win it here, and we actually get a shield from this Frost Sash. Actually wasn't a CMP tie, but now we're able to farm them down. They're going to come in with a Sableye instead. We go straight for the Wild Charge. We one-shot the Sableye here, and I should be swapping into my Emolga, but instead I go for a CMP tie, but my opponent chooses not to throw. I've lost too much health there whilst my defense was lowered, and that is going to be costly because they get to the back-to-back charge moves here, and I would have been able to get to another charge move if I still had a bit more health remaining, but unfortunately, because I waited too long whilst my defense had been lowered, I do end up losing that game. But GG's to that opponent there. And into this game we lead into a Dunsparce, one of the hardest Pokemon to deal with this team, because it can hit for super effective damage against all 3 Pokemon, but luckily the rollouts do very little damage, so it's only the drill run that I have to worry about with this Togedamaru. So I'm going to shield here. They go for a drill run, and I think I'm now going to go for a Wild Charge, and I'm going to try and catch the next charge move onto my Emolga, and I'm perfectly able to do so, and that is great because drill run is resisted here, and we did get a Thunder Shock through there, so I'm now going to be able to outpace them to the next charge move, make sure I get rid of this Dunsparce, and now hopefully we should be in a good position here. They're going to come in with a Talonflame. They try to catch the discharge there. I'm not going to throw straight away. I go for a discharge now up against this Lantern. I'm going to go for another discharge here. Keep on farming, and then I'm going to swap, and I'm able to perfectly catch the charge move onto my Togedamaru. They go for a Surf. That's fine. I'm going to let both of them go through. Of course, I have to, but that is fine. I just wasted all of their energy, and I did maintain some of the energy on my Emolga there. But now this Talonflame is going to go for a Brave Bird for whatever reason. I'm not sure. It means I can confidently overfarm, go for a discharge, take them out there, go for another discharge. My opponent actually concedes the match there, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game here, we're going to lead into a Zangoose. Bit of a tricky lead here. Close combat would be one-shotting us, but Wild Charge also going to do massive damage. I'm now going to swap into the Dedenne here, as we do resist the typical charge moves from a Zangoose. We're going to let this first move go through. They didn't even build up to a Bulldoze, so I can safely let it go through. Go for a discharge here. The second discharge will hopefully threaten a shield here, and I'm going to throw on the CMP tie. They choose not to throw. They're going to go for the full farm down, but I'm barely able to get to another discharge here, and all shields are down, so we do maintain switch advantage, and we have a 2 shield advantage here. But this Zangoose is absolutely loaded. They throw blindly, and they actually go straight for a close combat, so it is resisted. They're going to come in with the Altaria here, and we're in a very good position now. I'm going to shield up this charge move here. It's just a Sky Attack. Of course, that is double resisted, but I don't want to let this, what the hell is this thing called? The Togedamaru go down here, so I'm going to go for another Wild Charge here, and we're 1 away. We should be able to tank a Shadow Claw, get to another Wild Charge here, and take out the Zangoose and take that game. So Togedamaru, once I finally remembered what its name was, absolutely sweeping that game there. Alright, so going into the next battle here, we lead into a Trevenant, one of the worst things we can see aside from a ground type, so not great here. We're going to go for a Fell Stinger. Of course, they're not going to shield it, but it does boost my attack, meaning these Wild Charges are going to be more threatening even when they're resisted. So we're going to go for a first Wild Charge here. We get a shield from the Trevenant. We're going to go for another Wild Charge, and it looks like that's a CMP tie. We get both shields from this Trevenant, and we are going to let this move go through. Seed Bomb, even though resisted, we did double debuff our defense, so we do go down there. We're going to come in with the Emolga here. They do have enough for a Shadow Ball, so I will respect the damage, and they do go for it here. They're now going to come in with an Altaria, so I come in with my Dedenne here. Very good matchup for me. They're going to go for a Sky Attack, don't even build to a Moonblast, so maybe they're running Dragon Pulse, not really sure. We're going to go for the Play Rough. That does big damage here. We're going to overfarm, go for a CMP tie on the next Sky Attack. I debate whether I should undercharge or not, but in the end I decide not to. We go for a Play Rough here. Play Rough takes out the Trevenant. They've got a Lantern in the back, and at this point I was thinking Dedenne is way too low. I don't think I'm going to be able to win this game, so I end up not even throwing a charge move here, and that's a massive mistake. Thunderbolt takes me out here, and you'll see I actually get to a discharge here. And if I just went for a charge move with the Emolga, I would have won this game, but I completely threw it. I didn't put my faith in Dedenne, and I'm sure Swag Tips is very disappointed in me, but unfortunately we do lose that game, so GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead into a Shadow Abomasnow, and again, pretty tricky lead here, but luckily they do only throw resisted moves into our Togedamaru here, so that's kind of okay here, so I will let the first move go through. They do just go for a Weather Ball. I'm now going to go for a Wild Charge. This is boosted, and Wild Charge takes out the Abomasnow there. They're going to come in with a Galvantula, and once again, we do resist everything here, unless they're running Cross Poison, which would be super effective, but it looks like they're not, so we're going to go for a Play Rough. Play Rough has now been debuffed. It doesn't do as much damage. I'm actually going to shield from this Galvantula here. They go for another lunge, of course. We're going to go for a discharge here, and what we're trying to do is just kill that switch timer here. Hopefully I can swap out before they throw a move, and I'm barely able to, which is perfect, because now I'm going to reset that debuff there, meaning the energy on my Dedenne is going to be a lot more valuable. They go for another Surf here. I can let it go through. They will be able to farm me down, but I do get to a discharge, and we actually get a shield from the Lantern. I was not expecting that. But we're going to wait out the switch clock here, come in with the Togedamaru and go for a charge move. It's a CMP tie. Wild Charge gets the final shield from my opponent. I'm actually going to shield this up and now swap into my Dedenne here. I was hoping that a Play Rough would be enough to take out the Lantern, but I'm not going to be able to take them out here, so I have to go for another charge move. Discharge takes out the Lantern. Can I get to another one? Yes, I'm barely able to before they farm me down, and Discharge takes out the Galvantula, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. And into the final battle of this video, we lead into a very spicy Shadow Electivire here, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to go for a back-to-back Wild Charge once they reach it. So here, I go for the Wild Charge, and they swap into a Dunsparce here. It is a boosted Wild Charge here. I'm now going to go for a Fell Stinger bait, and we get a shield from the Dunsparce, which is great. I'm now going to shield up my Togedamaru, go for another Fell Stinger here, and if it doesn't take them out, I'm going to be able to Thunder Shock farm them down. We have some residual energy. I'm going to swap out straight away, but unfortunately they come in with a Vigoroth. This would have been much better if I came in with my Emolga, because that's got the worst matchup up against the Electivire, but let's just see how things go. We're going to go for a discharge here. We'll be able to get to another discharge here before they get to a bulldoze, so we should be in a pretty good position here. They're going to shield up and then swap into the Shadow Electivire. Wild Charge takes out the Dedenne there. We're going to come in with the Togedamaru, and unfortunately we're not able to get to another move. Wild Charge takes out the Togedamaru, and we are about to be swept by a Shadow Electivire. Ice Punch, massive damage. There's no point me throwing here. I'm going to let them take me out here. This Shadow Electivire absolutely putting in work and just 1v3'd my entire team. So GG's to that opponent, very well played. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and that way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we've got Eden Nar, who says, no doubts, Oxford U and Jamie Finn, and this would be a very cool collaboration. They both got very unique styles of commentary, and I think they would complement each other very well, so I think that is a great shout there. Next we got Yort, who says, I would pick Jonkus and Homesize Henry, as they're always trying to outcompete each other when a new Pokemon gets released to the game, and that's very true. They are both rapid when it comes to featuring a new Pokemon, and it would be very cool to see them collaborate together and feature that same Pokemon with both of them in the same video. And finally, we've got Lope_YT, who says, I would like you and Zionic to collaborate, since every time you one-shot something, Zionic is gonna scream boom. I don't think this comes as a surprise, but I would also very much love for this collaboration. I've actually submitted battles to Zionic's channel multiple times in the past, but unfortunately for me, he gets a ton of submissions and he can't possibly feature every single person that submits battles, and I've just been unlucky not to be selected to be featured in one of his videos. And here's a fun fact for you guys. I actually started the Battle of Spice competition because I was inspired by a similar Spice competition that Zionic ran on his channel. I entered the competition with my signature highest attack weighted team ever with Shadow Sharpedo, Shadow Alakazam and Attack Form Deoxys. I made it through to the top 10 chosen by Zionic, and then his moderators then voted without seeing any of the battles for their favourite team, and unfortunately I narrowly missed out. Of course, I was disappointed not to win the competition and be featured on Zionic's channel, but it did give me the idea to create my own Battle of Spice competition. So if you were wondering about the origins of the Battle of Spice, then you can go over to Zionic and thank him for that, because that's where I got the idea from. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.